streaming.
All right.
Okay, you good, Cory?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, here we go. Hitting the button. And we're live. Finally. Sorry for the delay. Little first episode problems. We're live. Gen XP episode 1.
Hello.
Hello. Okay.
Yeah, what's up? What's up?
Okay, we're live. Episode 1. Cory Phillips.
Hey.
Cory, welcome.
How you doing?
Hello.
Yep. Glad to be here. You know, it's a good time. Everybody's got my today's episode brought to you by whiskey and my drinking problem.
Oh. Good Lord.
Excellent.
This is off to an
Yes,
amazing
perfect.
start.
Gen XP, the thing that caused Cory to start drinking.
Yep.
Or at least continue.
Okay, or at least continue. I don't know. There's been some very interesting times at some cons, but we're not going to go there.
Yep. Nope. I'm under a contractual obligation to never disclose what happened. The court ordered.
Wait.
Court ordered.
What?
Okay, apparently none of us can enunciate today. But, as I said, Gen XP Episode 1, we are live. Cory J Phillips, actor, voice actor, comedian, as you can see on your screen. That's Cory on your screen.
Yep, that atrocity, that affront to humanity. Yeah, that picture. I'm just kidding. It's a great picture.
You
It's
said
just the
it,
subject matter is
not
terrible.
me.
So,
So we're just going to have a little bit of a chat about some of the rather cool things that Cory has done. Cory, you've got 2 rabbits. That's kind of cool.
yeah, that's probably the coolest thing about me, is the fact that I have 2 rabbits. Yeah, no, they're awesome.
Let's get
I
to the
love my
boring
rabbits.
stuff now.
Okay. But
Yeah.
in all seriousness, Cory, as it does say, actor, voice actor, comedian,
Yeah.
leads the Take One Productions. Really cool. Cory, you want to talk a little bit about Take One?
Yeah. So I love Take One is this awesome little group that I started right out of high school. It's pretty awesome. It started as an improv troupe, and then over the years it turned into a video production company. So we produce like nerdcore stuff. Oh, that's my phone. How unprofessional of me.
Take my phone off the desk once that happens.
Yeah, mine
Well,
just did the same thing, Cory. You're cool.
No, so we produce videos, nerdy videos like Doctor Who. We did a Doctor Who fan series. We also did a Fallout series. We just produced a video this weekend. It was a lot of fun. We wrote it, we concepted it, produced it, and we're editing it within like 3 days. So it's going to be one of the fastest turnarounds we've ever done on a video in a while. And it's super funny. It's a super funny premise. It's basically like The Office, but it kind of delves into, like, you know, whenever you watch those like old kung fu films, and the hero shows up, and all the henchmen are like standing around looking menacing. How long have they been standing there waiting? Like, how long? And so it kind of, the whole idea of the film is just kind of follows what henchmen do when the hero's not there. And it's awesome. It's really funny.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
I'm gonna have to watch that.
Yes, we're going to have to make sure and look for that coming hopefully soon.
Yeah, it should be out. Hopefully it would be out soon. I don't know. I'm not editing this one, so I couldn't tell you.
All right.
I have no part in this.
All right. So, going in with Take One, you touched just a little bit on the improv. You want to go into a little bit more detail on that?
Yeah. So I improv is for those the uninitiated, for the virgins that are listening. Improv is improv theater. By improv, some people like to think that it means stand-up, but no, actually, improv theater. So it's basically like Whose Lines It Anyways, where we get a scene from the audience, and we make up the whole thing on the spot. It's really hysterical. I've been doing it for about 12 years this year, and then Take One's been around for about 10. So we do kind of a Whose Lines It Anyways style, just a little bit longer. I think the main difference between us and Whose Line is our games are just a little longer because it's a lot more fun. Because we don't like, if we're doing something fun and enjoying something, we don't want to bail on it. So we let our games go a little bit longer than maybe you would see on Whose Line. So yeah, but everything is made up on the spot, off the top of our heads. Most of the people on my team have been doing it for years, so it's pretty good. We're kind of good. I don't know.
Yeah, for the one or two people that come out to the shows, I mean, you just did Akon down in Dallas, and there was what, 3-4 people at that show?
Yeah, 3, 4, 1,500 something. I don't know. Actually, I've heard two different numbers. I actually don't know exactly what the exact count was. I've heard 1,500 and I've heard 1,800. I don't know which one is actually the real count.
But
I'm gonna assume it's 3.
But the point of that is
1, 2. I lost count.
Yes, Brett can't count that high.
After I run out of fingers and toes, it's pretty much just a mystery to me after that.
So more than 20. Perfect. Okay.
I can get you at least 3 higher. 2 years, 1 night.
He's like, I know it's at least higher than 23. Wait, what? I have 3 extra toes on 1 foot. But yeah.
Well, something else that I do want to touch on a little bit in our pre-show interview with Cory, myself and Brett here, we were on the ground laughing. Cory is also a voice actor. He does a lot of impressions. Cory, you want to go off on a little tangent?
I'm not entirely sure what you're asking me for. I will.
I'm not insured.
I will explain.
Not insured.
I'm not insured. Unfortunately, the Sane Kingdom doesn't have great insurance.
No. So funny story. So impressions and voice acting are like 2 separate things.
Yes.
And like it's funny because like voice actors don't necessarily like people that do impressions, so I kind of have to hide that about myself whenever I'm in like a kind of a mixed company. Like if I'm around colleagues, I don't really come out with the fact that I do impressions, but I love impressions. Like impressions are one of my favorite things to do because whenever I was a kid, I was in homeschool, and I had a lot of time on my hands. So what I would do is I would listen to cartoons and then just mimic what I heard. So like one of the first impressions I ever learned how to do was like, "Hi, coming to you live," like, and then I learned like after that was like Zoic Scoob and I know Raggy, like like those kind of iconic cartoon characters, and then it kind of went off on obscurity because I can do like half the cast of Yu-Gi-Oh, which is like the lamest thing to be able to do. But whenever I got into my professional career, I kind of became aware that most voice actors don't like people that do impressions. The reason being is because it's kind of like a cheap imitation. Like, you know what I mean? Like a off-brand Louis Vuitton purse or something like that. Mm-hmm. Or Ray-Bans. They're like fake Ray-Bans. Because what they're going to think of it as is like you're trying to undercut what they do. And it's so usually you don't really want to be too far. I actually just today took impressions and kind of reworded it off my resume. I put it in like really tiny print that says voices, and it's like at the very end, like you can barely see it. Just because it's like I want, it's a talent that I have, but it's not something that I want other voice actors knowing that I do.
So to kind of expand on that a little bit, I can kind of remember you telling a little bit of a story. I'm not sure. I think you may have said it was at Akon, where what was it? You were in a room with what is it? Chris Sabat? Was that it?
So there's 2 stories. You could be talking about 2 separate stories. There's 2 different stories which have the same kind of like mishap. One of my good friends, how I met one of my good friends who's a really big voice. I won't say his name, but because he doesn't like when I do that. But he's a good friend of mine. He's a dear friend. He's kind of mentored me a little bit, so I really appreciate all that he's done, which is kind of why I'm respecting his privacy. But how I met him was we have this panel called Recast, which I've actually renamed into the Imitation Games recently because I thought that was funnier. But
excellent.
we do a panel called Recast where we take a big script like Lion King or Star Wars, and we replace all the characters' impressions that we can do. And there's like 4 or 5 of us, and we all just voice act in, and we go scene by scene replacing all the characters. And each scene we replace them with different characters. It's a lot of fun. But we were warming up for that panel. And so there was like, we were all in the green room with all the guests, and the guests, you know, are like all the other voice actors and such. And I am just entertaining some of the ladies and the con suite staff with impressions. And one of the particular impressions I started doing, the voice actor of that character happened to be sitting directly next to me. Like my leg is an inch away from his leg. Like he is directly next to me. And so I started doing this impression, and they're all just into it. And I think some of them realized what was going on because they were laughing a lot harder than they should have at me. And so he slow turns, like that dramatic slow turns his head and starts listening to me do this. And he starts egging me on. Like he starts being like, oh yeah, that's awesome. Do that again, blah, 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 whatever. And he's like cheering me on. And so finally, you know, after I've exhausted my ego, I was like, so what do you do? And he goes, oh, I do that. And it caught me off guard because I was like, oh no. I was so embarrassed. But fast forward 2 or 3 years later, I'm at the Funimation mixer, and Chris Sabat's there, and all these different people are there, and this one particular voice actor, like somebody had said that I did impressions, and I did an impression of Vegeta, and Austin, I think it was Austin Tyndall, goes over to Chris Sabat and is like, hey, he does Vegeta too. Points me out from across the room. And so mind you, I had been drinking a little bit, so I was in no shape to like face down the real Vegeta in a Vegeta off. So I'm looking there, and Chris Sabat is kind of one of those guys that like, he's one of the nicest guys, but he's also one of the most intimidating guys because he's got kind of this director intimidating presence. Looks me dead in the eyes, and he's like, well, do it. From across the room. And so I'm like, oh no. Well, I don't know what you want from me. and that's when I blacked out from embarrassment. Because once all the blood leaves your face, you pretty much lose cognitive ability. But yeah, no, that's the 2 stories that kind of are almost the same thing, but kind of not. Because one ends in friendship, the other one ends in embarrassment.
Didn't you tell us previously the first story is part of what got you into voice acting?
Kind of, in a roundabout way. Kind of. I'll tell you the pieces that I'm allowed to tell, but basically, I met this person through that way, and then like I was producing a show, and he auditioned, or he got cast to be in the show, and he was like, so we were on set together, we were kind of co-starring, and he was like, you know, you've ever thought about voice acting? And I was like, no, there's really no opportunity in Oklahoma to do it. And he's like, well, you should try it out. And so things happened, and next thing you know, I'm recording on my first show, and it was one of the hardest things I have ever done. Because some of the things, like one of the things that I've kind of walked away with it is that voice acting is 10 times harder than any form of acting I've ever done. And so that's kind of what, you know, whenever people are like, I want to be a voice actor, I'm like, are you sure? You sure you don't want to be anything else? Like a brain surgeon? Or, you know, because it's super difficult, and super difficult to get in, and super difficult to get noticed, and it's just and even after all that, it's very difficult to do. So that's why I'm obsessed with it now. I say obsessed. I if I get the opportunity to do it, I'm gonna do it. So
okay.
Yeah, that's that story.
I feel like we need to end every segment with, so that's that story.
So that's that story.
You know,
Moving
either that or
on.
Brett sneezing, one of the two.
Yeah, catch my goal.
Yeah. And now we're on to the next segment.
So, again, we were talking a little bit before we went live. You've had a pretty exciting last few days. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So aside from shooting a video this last weekend, I recently signed with a really big agent here in Dallas, and that I've been kind of pursuing that for the last year, like because I already have agents in other places, and so I could afford to be a little more picky choosy, and so there's two major like huge agents here in Dallas, and there was one I particularly wanted, and I just kept trying to get her to notice me, and finally, she set up a meeting, and I signed with her yesterday. And I'm so excited about it because that's kind of like a big step for my career. It's going to be a big step for my voice acting career. It's going to be a big step in a lot of different ways. So I'm pretty excited about that. And then we've got
congratulations.
a 48-hour. Thank you. We've got a 48-hour film competition coming up, which I'm super excited about. And we've got, and then I'll be shooting on the kids show for a week, and then I'll be in Colorado, and then I have a con, one after another. It's going to be great. I'm going to be a husk of a human being at the end. I'm going to look like a vulture, just like a bald and gross looking. Vultures are kind of like, it's like God designed half a cool looking bird and then was like, I'm done. Like stopped at the head and it's like, I'm done.
Head came from the parts bin.
Yeah.
But
like a naked mole rat. Just looks like somebody was like trying to design a new rodent and was like, screw it. I'm not going to finish this. It looks terrible. Put it next to that naked cat.
So we were doing our research for this a few days ago and came across a couple of your YouTube videos. And one question that we felt very important to ask you, Cory, is when you're making videos, what do you do with your hands?
I have no idea. I have no idea. It depends. Like, there's so many videos you could be referencing at that moment. It's so hard for me to tell.
I think my favorite was one where your hands just kept going up and down throughout the entire video.
Yeah, because it was so funny. So a funny story about that is that so I'm taking this acting class with Nancy Chartier, and she's fantastic. And when I started, she like zeroed in on the fact, she's like, you're a comedy actor and you're in a kid's show. Like she could tell just by looking at me, because she's like, you're so animated, you're just, everything is involved in your talking. And so what she'll do to me whenever I'm reading a piece is she's like, you can't use your hands and you can't use your face. It feels like I'm having an internal stroke. I'm just like, like, what? No. And it's the worst. It is the worst, because it's like, I don't, like, it feels like, whenever you're holding in a fart and, like, but then when you're trying to release it, it won't come out, and you're like, and you're in this weird limbo of just discomfort.
I'm just imagining Cory visibly shaking.
Yeah, it's kind of same analogy, same fart analogy. Yep, that's what this podcast has been reduced to, fart jokes. Sorry, that's not bad.
So speaking of fart jokes, if you want,
that's a good segue.
Yeah,
it's a fantastic segue.
Okay. And Brett sneezed, so now we're perfect.
Yep, fantastic segue.
Thank you, Brett. Now
what do you got?
Kind of made me lose my train of thought. They're trains. Okay, got it. So a couple of times you've referenced the kids show. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. I'm in a kid show called Connect, and it is an awesome kid show. It's super fun. It's a lot of fun to do, even though their favorite things are to either stuff me into tiny spaces or make me eat gross things. That is like their favorite two things for me to write in to the show. But we just filmed episode like 200 2 blocks ago. So it's been going a while. We're in like our 9th season. It's called Connect. So if you want your kids to get good morals, go in their 1st through 4th grade, they can Go watch Connect. I'm the comedic relief in the show, so I have like the easiest job ever. So it's awesome, and it's actually the whole reason why I can be full-time acting is because of them. So I'm super appreciative of that from them, because they made that possible.
Based on what I've seen of that show, would it be correct to say that your character is not exactly the brightest character on the show?
I think he's like an idiot savant. Because like the thing is like he has moments where it's like he's a genius and like he does these things and you don't understand how he did it, but it's all for like idiotic reasons. So it's like he can do some like incredible things, but it's usually for a really dumb reason. So it's like it kind of balances itself out.
Okay.
But yeah.
So we will make sure and have a couple of links in the description for various things.
By links, you mean hot links, because we want you to stay. So we figured the way we're going to get you to stay is bribery with hot dogs.
Delicious.
Yes.
Sorry, that whole bit was for a hot dog joke. Yeah, that's what my career's led me to. Hot dog joke. God.
Excellent.
We invited they're sitting over there like, we invited him for comedy and we just got hot dogs. Make a note though, just don't invite him.
But at this point, with how long we've known you, Cory, we expect it.
Yeah, expect hot dog jokes. I'm glad that's what precedes me. It's hot dog jokes.
Yep. One thing that always sticks out with me was last March when we had Take One here in Borger for our con. I went into the hotel the next morning to pick up our YouTuber to take him back to the airport, and Cory walks out and just looks at me and he was like, "I'm sorry, people thought I was dead last night." Because with everyone else, after we got tore down the night before, I texted a few people and said, "Hey, are you staying tonight, or are you headed back?" And the only thing I remember was the next day, you telling me that you saw that message. You were like, "I should probably message him."
Yeah, I go pretty hard at cons because not only am I performing the entire weekend, I'm also directing and running the team, and so a lot of things kind of take priority over eating and sleeping and pretty much anything else. So it's just like usually by day 3 it's just like I'm like
I think I've died 5 times in the last 5 minutes.
like it's the worst. And so actually at ACON this year they switched it to a 4-day con, and I'm not paced out for a 4-day con. So by day 4 it was so funny. I was in a panel. We were doing a lip sync panel on Sunday, and I'm sitting there and I'm a judge and I'm excited. And my friends who were there watching the panel said that they saw the moment when it all caught up to me, because they said I went from excited, and in an instant my face just drooped, and I went to this like murderous like look of like, I'm dead. And they said it was like the funniest thing to watch, just my face droop, like somebody having the slowest stroke ever. And then I got wasted off of being tired. Like I was just like, what, you guys,
I've been
is
there.
Is there just a place to nap? Is there just a place you could? Yeah. So yeah, it was the worst. The worst.
You talked about being wasted from tired.
Yeah.
Henry once had a video of me singing, and I can't remember it. I was so tired.
So the short version of that, and again without really saying any names, we were with a couple of friends. It was the first time we were doing a D&D campaign.
Nice.
And
that's always a good start to a story.
Oh no, it gets even better. Our first thought was, hey, we're gonna be up all night. Let's go grab some energy drinks. So we quickly figured out that Brett, plus lack of sleep, plus one of the large screw top energy drinks, equals hilarity about 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
Absolutely.
I would have loved to have been there. Would have loved to have seen this.
Absolute hilarity to the point that he had misplaced his generic insert name of video game device here.
Portable video game enjoyment device.
Yes, and he was convinced that our friend's little brother had taken it. So about 3:30 in the morning, he tried to pick up about a 35-pound solid oak dining chair and was going to go beat his little brother with it.
Oh wow! You are the angriest blackout tired.
It was. I hate that video's gone. That was the greatest thing ever.
What were you singing? What was your song choice?
Amazing Horse.
Amazing Horse.
Do you know it?
I have not heard this. No, I don't. I kind of want to pull it up and hear it.
I'll link you shortly.
Yeah.
I'll link you shortly, and maybe throw a link in the description. I haven't decided on that yet. But yes, that is one of the greatest things. Our stories aren't quite as good as yours are, though.
I'm like 10 years older than both of you, so I would hope.
True.
I would hope that I have more stories. Plus, I just, the thing about stories is they're always linked to bad choices. So if you don't have as many stories, that means you've made less bad choices.
So not only is this podcast funny, it's informative.
Yes, if you want better stories, go out there and make poor decisions. That's an OETA PSA. The more you know.
Not exactly where I was going with it, but I'm glad you did.
He is correct about the bad choices. Just so you know.
Yeah. So to get slightly back on topic, since we started late, we went a few minutes over, but since we started late, we haven't reached our 30-minute mark quite yet. Again, when we were doing our pre-show, you just kind of hit a few of your voices. Would you mind going through a few of your more, I guess, your favorites?
Okay, yeah, I'll go through your favorites. I'll start with the narrator, and I'll just give you like a really short radio play, just made up off the top of my head. All right,
so basically, what you did earlier.
Yep. And now, I'm Morgan Freeman, present to you a radio play made by an idiot, making it up off the top of his head for a bunch of strangers' personal enjoyments. If you want to watch something better, watch March of the Penguins. I do like myself some penguins. Anyways, start the show. Now, let me be clear. It seems I've no longer the president, and I've invited a lot of my friends here. But I needed somebody to report on it, so I am going to bring you my reporter.
Oh, thank you. It's quite an honor to be reporting for the ex-president. Gotta definitely win a number 2 there. Anyways, coming to you live from this stupid party where Owen Wilson's even invited. Don't know how that happened. Yeah, I'm really excited to be here, It's just nobody invites me to anything anymore. Mainly because I don't get cast and stuff, and my nose looks like a penis, they say. I really think that's offensive, but whatever. Yeah, but your nose totally does look like a penis. Shut up, Kronk. No one asked you. Oh, well, we're going to walk away from that. What do we got going on over here?
Right now, I'm docking points from House Gryffindor because these idiots have somehow made it into my school.
Like Zoe Scoob, we're totally wizards.
I know, Aggie. Yoga. It's not working.
That's because you have no enunciation, Scoob. Nor thumbs.
Oh my.
It seems like I've walked into quite the party. Oh my. Oh, I've walked into a show that's not even mine. There's no card games or 10-year-olds. Not interested. Pegasus, I'm here to play you a card game. I've spent millions of dollars developing it. Oh, Kaiba boy, you know I only like it when you wear the shorty shorts. I'm Merrick, and I have a ridiculous voice. We all know you don't need to point it out every time you enter the room. Whoa! Where in the hell am I?
Now, Hank, do not freak out. That is what you call Japanese anime.
Oh, no, they ain't no talking about no man. It's just that anime man. Just all the only thing I watch about is Sailor Sailor Moon, man. That's just what I'm into, man. Sailor Moon. Okay, that's a few. I can never think of them on the fly. Whenever of the ones I like, I have a lot.
Oh.
What about 10 souls and a bottle of rum, Savvy?
Oh.
Yeah, that's a little bit. That was for your personal enjoyment. That'll be $150. Yeah.
Do you accept Bitcoin?
Yes, I do.
Good, we don't have it.
Okay. So
Cause good.
the on the subject of the voices, the last one I kind of want to bring up, if you wouldn't mind, the one that gets me every single time. Would you mind pulling out a little bit of your hawking?
I'll try. I'll still see what I can do. Hold on.
I don't know why you like this so much. It is a very offensive impersonation.
It's funny. In order to emulate it on a microphone, I have to like just shake my head from side to side. Like,
What are you meaning?
Oh,
That was
it doesn't really
offensive.
work. No, it's the best. It's the best.
That-
My favorite impressions are the ones that offend people.
excellent.
Early in my career, it used to be my goal to get one person to walk out of my shows, like out of offense.
For a while, that was my goal while I played cards.
Yes. So, really, really short but rather interesting story with that. A couple years ago, here in town, we had Nice Peter and Epic Lloyd, the guys from the Epic Rap Battles of History.
Nice, which I saw. That was awesome.
Yeah, they came out, they did their live show, they had this amazing opening band with them, then they had their DJ Dante, he was kind of an ass.
Huh.
Not everyone can say they have a mortal enemy, but I can. So
It's Dante.
so afterwards, we're going down to our local card shop, and I've got Dante and I've got Nice Peter in my car, and the whole way over there, Pete's just saying, "We can only stay for 15 minutes. We have a 9.5-hour drive. We can only stay for 15 minutes." And the second we walk in the door, he says, "We can only stay for Dante, they're playing Magic. They're playing Magic, Dante. We've got to play Magic." So fast forward about 2.5 hours later, we're sitting around with about 24 people with the Jackpot Golden Boys, their openers, with both of ERB's DJs, and we're just sitting around playing Cards Against Humanity, and somehow every single round Brett managed to offend someone.
Oh, I offended almost everyone. Like, the other ones were getting laughs, they got to mine, and there weren't laughs. There were a few people that went, "Oh."
Oh, that is an incredible moment. That is an incredible moment. That is. I don't even know what you could have done. Like, I'm trying to think of all the cards in Cards Against Humanity. I don't even think of what you could have done that would offend me. But I would love to see if you still have this superpower.
I can't remember.
Oh,
They had all the expansions.
Yeah, the bigger, blacker edition.
yeah.
Yep.
So, it seems like a challenge has been.
I would love to see you offend me. I would love to see you offend me.
Okay,
I'm
so
gonna try. I'm gonna try someday.
So
This ain't the place.
the next time that we're around Cory, you're gonna have to try to offend Cory in some way. Cards
Now
or
I
not.
will say, I will add a stipulation. You cannot insult me because that's cheating. That's easy. You have to offend me by some other means than insulting me. Because that's just cheating.
Challenge
Anybody can
accepted.
say.
I'll figure out
I would.
some way.
You'll just have to find it. Oh man, I just thought of one that I thought of one. I just like maybe that could offend me.
Hey, why
Oh,
don't
I
you
know.
tell me?
I know what he could do to offend me if he figured it out. Now I figure it out. Oh man, I'd fight you.
Oh, that
Oh,
reminds
fight
me.
you.
We're gonna have to bring some other people in on this.
The new segment, trying to offend Cory.
That's gonna be.
It's-
I'm gonna do that from now on. We have actually doing this, and I should have done this sooner. I apologize for not doing this sooner, but Cory, thank you for being a part of episode 1. Thank you for being a part of history.
Thank you. Thank you. Love it.
It's always
I'm
great
glad
to
to
get to
hear
chat with you over the last couple of years that we've known you and known the rest of your team and everything. It's always a blast, always hilarity, always slightly offensive.
Yep. So I try. That's what I strive for in my life.
But-
Disappointing my mother. And chance
But
again.
from now on, we are currently booked up through mid-October, doing this
Yeah.
weekly. So from now
It's okay.
on,
I'm super busy from here until probably October. So yeah.
So from now on, we're just going to have a very special segment of how can we offend Cory this week.
I will tune in to hear how your offensive things.
All right, that we're totally gonna have.
End every episode on an offensive thing. I thought Wonder Woman was lackluster. I haven't actually even seen it, so I can't
Oh,
Christ.
oh, that is going to be hilarious. I keep thinking back to when everyone was here in Borger for the con, up until 2-3 o'clock in the morning. I just remember, I want to say, was it you and the guys from Carnival Epsilon that kept swapping stories back and forth, like, oh well, this is the worst thing I've done. And they're like,
It
oh no,
was.
this is nothing. We surfed on the back of a couch. No, this is nothing.
I can remember that clearly. It was.
That was.
Was it Carl Epsilon? I thought it was Carl. I thought it was Carl or something. I don't remember. It could have been Carl Epsilon. Could have
he
been
went
Carl.
to bed early, I
Hold
think.
on. No,
Didn't he?
the stories between you and Carl, we cannot comment on.
Oh yeah, this
Yeah.
was a different time.
We cannot comment on
Gara.
live on the air.
Gara.
But you can.
That's in the tags now.
Gara.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to timestamp when you said this, Cory, because whenever things start settling down in a few weeks, we may or may not have Carl on. So I'm going to reference
Oh, heck
this
yeah.
point. I'm going to reference this point, and I'm going to bring it to Carl's attention, and then he's just going to find where you live and take one of his Buster swords and.
Yeah, no, that means I get it if he busts me over the head with it.
Oh.
I was so upset. I didn't win one in a raffle. I was at Yellow City. I was mad.
Too, I wanted one.
Yeah, that I was slightly upset too. So we're gonna have to timestamp this, and we're gonna bring this to Carl's attention, and then Carl's just gonna be mad at all of us.
Yeah.
So
He'll text me.
trying to offend Cory, that's gonna be difficult. But trying to offend Carl, all you have to do is say, "Hey, mannequin, go big or go home."
We've just lost the
Nice.
chance to have
Yeah,
him on this.
We just lost Carl.
Coral.
I would. Carl.
Coral.
Carl. Oh.
I had a booth. I don't remember what con I was at, but I had a booth next to him, and that's
Amarillo?
all I did the entire. It might have been Amarillo because
Yeah,
I had a booth
your
next.
booths
I had a
were
booth
down
at, with.
then.
We had a booth with close to him at Acon, and I think we had one. Well, not really that close, but close enough. But I've had a couple of boobs close to him, but it probably was Amarillo. But the entire time I'm just yelling at him, Coral, Coral, just all day, every day, and it was the best. It was the best. All right, guys, I have to record some auditions actually.
Yep,
Yeah.
that is just about our time. So
Yeah.
Gen XP episode 1, Cory J Phillips. We have your
Thank
links
you.
in the description. Make sure go follow Cory on social media, not in real life.
Or in real life, I'm lonely.
Okay. Or in real life, I will update the description of this video to say or in real life instead of not in real life.
It's been amazing having you.
Yep.
Oh man.
All right, thank you guys for having me.
Cory, thanks. It's been a lot of fun. Every time we get to chat with you, it's always a good time. For anyone who made it this far, we'll be back 7:30 p.m. next week with Craig Lutke of the Bilge Pumps for a little pirate knowledge.
Ooh, nice.
So, Cory, thanks. Good luck with your auditions, with everything you've got going on, and hopefully we will get to see you relatively